What is up, YouTube? I'm Galadite74 here, bringing you our semifinals game of the APM. We are taking on Samuelson, coach of the Caracas Luxrays. We finished off the regular season with an 8-4 record, while he finished off the season with a 7-5 record. Now, before I get into the video, I'm going to plug my Twitch in the description below. That is where I post-commed all these regular season games, as opposed to putting them up on YouTube. So I always got to plug my Twitch when I make APM videos, and my Twitter's down there as well. So if you want to check that out, that's pretty cool. I am going to throw up the playoff picture on screen right now, as I did last week. As you guys see, we obviously beat Sergio last week, as the making of this video, obviously. If you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend you go check that out. But Beardy faced off against Samuel, and the Beardy Dragon was my worst opponent. Like, his team destroyed mine. And Beardy brought a Rest Shaman with Natural Cure that kind of just walled his entire team, and he ended up winning by 5 as well. And that's pretty good for us. Samuel is a really good opponent, but I think my matchup against Samuel is better than it was against Beardy. So getting to face Samuel is going to help us out a lot. Over in the other conference, Jed and Great Warrior did have a great battle, to say the least, but Jed did end up winning that battle in the end. And unfortunately, Love did beat Trap Beach by a forfeit win. It was really unfortunate because that was a battle I definitely did want to see, but Love ended up winning because Trap Beach is, I think, leaving Pokemons for a bit, so that's the reasoning why. But we have Love versus Jed, and then we got me versus Samuel, as I'm going to get into in a few seconds. I'm going to just break down Samuel's team. This is going to be another division game because Samuel, just like Sergio, is in my division, and we just so happen to face both of them. I did face Samuel in the regular season, and we did end up managing to win that game. But that's all I got for pre-notes, and I'm just going to start going into his team. Okay, so Samuel's team consists of Mega Gyarados, Clefable, Latios with Z-moves, Gliscor, Entei, Shaman, Silvally, Escavalier, Frostlass with Z-moves, Sawk, Dustox, and Regirock. Now, what I expect him to bring consists of Mega Gyarados, Clefable, Latios, Entei, Escavalier, and Frostlass. He could drop Frostlass for Shaman or Gliscor. Maybe Shaman because it stops Manaphy pretty well, but that's kind of what I'm sticking to. Gliscor, you would think on paper it does pretty good because I have a double Poison Core in Golbat and Salazzle, which, spoilers, I am bringing, and I'm getting really comfortable with, not to lie. But Gliscor doesn't beat Golbat whatsoever, and Gliscor has a really hard time switching into Salazzle. And besides those two, Gliscor doesn't really have a fantastic matchup, so I'm not really expecting to see it, but it could be like his 8th Mon or 7th. But Shaman's the only thing I could remotely see him switching in and out. And with my Poison Core, it's not going to be the greatest for him. But I think easily the scariest thing on his team is Latios. Latios is incredibly scary because it could do so many different things. It can Dragon Dance, it can Calm Mind, it could be like a bulky set. I'm really scared of more of a Calm Mind set, but I do have a way around it. And even though I'm not terrified of Mega Gyarados had the most kills in the regular season, so that says that Samuel really knows how to use Mega Gyarados. So if he uses it really effectively, he could end up beating me with it. So that is definitely something I have to watch out for. And other notes I wrote down is that the goal for the objective to win this game is have Salazzle take advantage of Clefable, or just take advantage of anything. Because Salazzle takes advantage of a lot of things on his team, like Escavalier, Frostlass, which I expect both of them to come. And Entei to an extent, not really. Actually, not Entei. Shaman if it does come. So Salazzle definitely has a lot of ways to take advantage of his team, and that is going to be the goal for this week. But that is his team. A little quick breakdown of his team. The team I am bringing consists of Golbat, Mega Gallade, Hydreigon, Manaphy, Klefki, and Salazzle. So the first one on the team, as I had just mentioned, is Golbat. Golbat is rocking max HP, 168 defense, 92 speed with a Jolly Nature, holding the Eviolite with the Infiltrator ability, moves being Toxic, Super Fang, Brave Bird, and Roost. This is my main way to beat Mega Gyarados, as that thing is very threatening. Toxic goes through Substitute because of the Infiltrator, so once it's Toxic, then it's just not a problem whatsoever. Mega Gyarados does not get reliable recovery, so I can definitely stall it out a bit. I can also switch into Clefable for very free, because if he wants to run like a Calm Mindset that beats Salazzle, Golbat just walls that for days, and I can just whittle it down to the point where it's not that big of a deal. It deals with Shaman, though Shaman can be a bit annoying. I can still beat it. This beats, I'm just reading off notes right now. It beats Silvally's, that can be poisoned. I wrote in my notes. Beats Dustox, because I know he does like Dustox. That thing definitely could come, but it's not that threatening. And it can beat Sawk and Escavalier, though I have to be really careful about knockoff. I do not want to lose my Eviolite, because if I lose my Eviolite, then Mega Gyarados can almost just completely knock out my Golbat at +1, or at least come close if I'm chipped. So that is definitely something I really have to watch out for. But again, I don't really expect, at least I don't expect Sawk to come. And if Escavalier and Entei's come in, they're both not going to be like Banded. And Banded Escavalier is really the only scary Escavalier, because Golbat can switch into it pretty easily. But that is mainly what Golbat is here for. Again, Mega Gyarados, very scary. Next up, we have Mega Gallade. Mega Gallade is rocking max attack, 176 speed with the Jolly Nature, and 80 in HP with a Gallade, obviously. Moves being Close Combat, Shadow Sneak, Ice Punch, and Fire Punch. I think last time I brought some wacky like punch moves, like Drain Punch and the 3 Elemental Punches, but this time we went with Shadow Sneak. Shadow Sneak is to finish off a Latios, because Latios was a little bit scary if it had Dragon Dance. Ice Punch is just good coverage for his team, as well as Fire Punch. What was it for? Ice Punch for Gliscor, and then Fire Punch was for Scavalier, because Scavalier was looking a little bit scary, but I decided to throw Fire Punch. And then Close Combat is just nice stab against his team. Mega Gyarados, once it's Mega'd, is just not kind of switching on it. Clefable still takes a decent chunk, enough chip for the point where I can switch out and deal with it accordingly. And again, it can take any hit from Latios if it's not boosted, and then I could either Ice Punch into Shadow Sneak. That knocks out Latios almost every single time, unless it's a bulky Latios, which isn't as threatening. But that's Mega Galade's job. I forgot to mention, Golbat's speed outspeeds an Adamant Mega Gyarados, but not a Jolly one. Just want to throw that out there. And this Mega Galade outspeeds, I think, Gliscor, max speed Gliscor or Silvally. I forget which one. I think they're both the same speed. But I just want to make sure, just for the off chance he runs max speed on something. I don't think he will, but, gotta be safe. But next up we have Hydreigon. Hydreigon is rocking the Habanberry with 248 HP, 36 in defense with a modest nature, and 224 in speed. Moves being Dark Pulse, U-Turn, Toxic, and Roost. I originally did have Hidden Power Ice over U-Turn, but I felt as if I can just U-Turn on a predicted Gliscor switch, I can take advantage of that with either Mega Gallade or Manaphy, or even Salazzle if it's chipped down. And I felt like that would be more viable in the end, because Gliscor is realistically not really touching Hydreigon that much, and if I can just at least pivot out on it, and hopefully if I'm slower than it, which I should have made Hydreigon less speed, but I just wanted to outspeed something on his team, which I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was Gyarados I wanted to outspeed. But it's in the end, looking back, I definitely should have made this Hydreigon more bulkier, or at least took off the speed and put something else on it. I put Modest for a little bit more attacking power. I can tank any hit from Latios because of the Habanberry, and Dark Pulse just does a load to it, as well as U-Turn. So Latios isn't going to have a free time. And I think U-Turn was for Clefable too. If he wants to pull any tricky doubles, I can U-Turn, and because he'll switch out first, or whatever. So that was the main reasoning for that. And that is the Hydreigon set. We're going to move on to our fourth mon of this semifinals game, and we're bringing Manaphy. Manaphy is rocking max special attack, 136 speed with the Timid Nature, and 120 HP with the Lumberry. Moves being Tail Glow, Surf, Dazzling Gleam, and Toxic. I brought this exact same, at least move set and item last time, as this is really good against his team, except for against Shaman, which could come, and this Shaman basically just gets walled by it. But here's the thing. Moonblast isn't doing too much from Clefable. If he's Magic Guard, which I expect him to be Magic Guard, I can just Tail Glow in front of his face, and if he is unaware, I can just Toxic it and then switch out, and it won't survive forever. And Clefable, again, is not the most threatening mon in the entire world. And I do have to get rid of Shaman in order for this to actually work, but luckily this just comes in on Entei a lot. It comes in on Gliscor if I have to, or I could just U-turn out into it. It does so good against his team. Dazzling Gleam is for the Mega Gyarados once it's Mega Evolved. It does a decent chunk, as well as Latios. It's doing about half to both of them respectively. And that's kind of mainly it for Manaphy. And I guess it does good against the Scavalier once I'm boosted. That's pretty cool. It beats all of his lowest tiers as well. Manaphy is just a really big threat against this team. And if for some awful reason Salazzle goes down early, Manaphy is a second win con in the back of my head. Next up, we got Klefki. Klefki is rocking the leftovers. Max HP, 152 defense with a Bold Nature, and 100 Instant Def with 8 speed. Moves being Spikes, Thunder Wave, Magnet Rise, and D-Gleam. This is one of the very few times that I run T-Wave on Klefki because I don't really want to paralyze the Clefable, but it's actually not as big of a deal as it usually would be. I apologize, this team builder is very long. But Klefki is really good against his team, especially the Latios. I originally just brought it just for the Latios because if that thing's like Dragon Dance and he beats my Klefki, then I'm screwed. Klefki is here to take on this Latios every day of the week. The only way this Latios really beats me if he Z crowns into a Klefki switch in, then that really sucks. But outside of that, it's not going to be doing too much. It's a semi-switch into Clefable. I can't really touch it back. I could set up Spikes to force Gliscor if it comes to Defog, or who else has Defog on his team? Or Silvally if that ends up coming to Defog, because his Defoggers aren't that great. So that would be pretty cool. And Latios, but Latios isn't going to run Defog. And it also beats the Frostlass. Gave me a nice switch into Frostlass, because I didn't really have a switch in. I could deal with it pretty effectively, but just a switch in is nice for that. So that is the Klefki. Oh, and it beats Shaman once my Magnet rises up, because Earth Power is the only thing that can hit me remotely hard with. And lastly, we have the win con of the week. We have Salazzle. Salazzle is rocking max special attack, 200 speed, Timid Nature, and 56 in HP, with the Poisonium Z with Corrosion ability. Moves being a Nasty Plot, Substitute, Flamethrower, and Sludge Bomb. Dual Stab is so good against his team. It's insane how good this is against his team. If I can get up a sub and a Nasty Plot like on Clefable or Force Switch or something almost dies every time. Because it's just insane how well the stab coverage does. +2 Flamethrower does like 90% the Gliscor. That's just really insane. I have the Z move for a few exceptions like Entei or really bulky Mega Gyarados I would need a Z move for. That's literally all I could think about. Oh, and Regirock. If Regirock decides to come for whatever reason, I don't see it coming, but if it does, then I would have to beat Regirock first, but I don't really expect Regirock to come. And it just takes advantage of so many things on his team, namely Clefable, Shaman's another one, Escavalier, Frostlass to an extent. You know, Frostlass does get T-Wave. I gotta watch out for that. But Slazzle's just really good against this team. I know I'm going to be tempted to use it early game, but I need to save it for late game because it just cleans up his team so effectively late game, as long as nothing on his team is set up. This team builder is very long. I'm going to end it here. That is our team for the week. I'm feeling pretty confident with it because it's just really good against this team overall. I could see myself losing to the the Latios if I'm not careful about it. But outside of that, I'm feeling pretty good. We're going to head over to Pokemon Showdown finally and get into the battle. Alright, we are here in the battle. I did mess up my audio a little bit in my last battle, so I'm going to try and hope I don't do this again. This battle is very long, so for the first decent half of this video, it's just going to be, the speed's going to be on normal rather than slow. So I'm going to let you guys know that, and I'm going to be talking a little bit over these first decent amount of turns because it's just us basically pivoting. But he did not bring the Latios, which is really, really good to see. He did not bring the Escavalier, and he did not bring the Frostlass, but he did bring the Shaman, Silvally, and Gliscor. My goal here is to basically get stuff whittled down for Slazzle because his Slazzle switching borderline doesn't exist. Entei could be his best switching, and Mega Gyarados is sort of a switching, but I don't think he'd want to be switching in Mega Gyarados consistently onto Salazzle if it's his offensive way to deal with it. But you're going to see here on turn 6 that he actually just goes into Silvally Rock. And Silvally Rock is the one type of Silvally that does sort of wall Salazzle. So that is another obstacle we have to get through. And I have to make sure Gliscor is a little bit chipped. I'm going to be setting up on either Shaman or Clefable, depending on what that Shaman set is, because it definitely could be a bulky set for Manaphy, as Salazzle as well, I guess. But for these first long turns, again, this battle's pretty long. It's just us kind of, scouting out movesets. I'm playing pretty safe in this early game. I'm trying to whittle down stuff for Salazzle, as I just said, as well as Manaphy, because Manaphy could definitely win this game if Shaman goes down as well, especially now knowing that is Silvally Rock. He's 3 Mons weak to water. And I have Dazzling Gleam for Gyarados, so that's pretty cool. It's just getting rid of Shaman for Manaphy and getting Clefable whittled down if it's unaware. But I have Toxic for that thing if it is unaware. As I'm just going to, again, just do some stuff here. I'm not really commentating what's actually happening. I'm just commentating what's the general end goal because this early game is really, really long, guys. And to even put it more perspective, each turn here was very long in itself. This battle was an absolute mental workout for me, and I'm sure it was for Samuelson as well. And this wish passing into Silvally is going to be proving to be a bit of a problem, as you guys have probably seen on the screen by now. I don't know, we're on turn 18. I haven't really been paying attention. I've been kind of just going off, because I know this battle does pick up at some point, and that's what's really important, obviously. But I'm trying to get Manaphy in to see maybe if I could get a little cheeky setup going, but I'm going to just, if not with Salazzle, as I'm just going to Salazzle. I pull a double into Klefki, expecting the Silvally. Silvally is going to get the wish, and it is going to be pretty annoying to deal with. But luckily, I do find out that this Klefki does wall the Silvally, so I can get spikes and at least force Gliscor to defog every time it comes in. One thing I did also learn throughout this battle is that this Gliscor actually does not, have Stealth Rock, so he does not have rocks on his team, which is huge because I do a lot of switching in this game overall, and him not having rocks is just really big. He does a lot of switching himself, and it would have hurt him because Entei would have taken 25%, Gyarados would have been taking 25%, Silvally would have taken a decent chunk, so it definitely would have been pretty nice to have, but it's not like the biggest deal in the world. Plus, I have spikes, so spikes are pretty good. We're just going to play this game back and forth here. And at some point, I'm just going to play a little bit aggro, as I do right here. I pull out my first aggressive move of the game. I go into Mega Gallade, because Ice Punch doesn't knock Gliscor out from full if he's like max Fizz Def, but I decide just to risk it anyways. He goes into Shaman, which I thought was a good play, but he's actually a really, really fully physically defensive Shaman with the helmet, so that's not really the most of a winning battle. And he shows you have aromatherapy, so this is going to be a little bit more annoying. Luckily, this shows that this Shaman, again, is bulky. It's got aromatherapy, leech sheet. I'm sure he's got synthesis and then a grass move. So that means this is also set up fodder for Salazzle as well, as long as I can get in for free because I don't want to be seeded. As he keeps seeding, these turns here are just going by just to pivot around Shaman so he doesn't completely outstall my team. As he shows rest, and this is kind of what like the set he brought against the Beardy Dragon to stall him out. So he's got Aromatherapy, Leech Seed, Rest. So I'm assuming that last move is a grass move. So Salazzle can definitely set up on that or Clefable. So that's something I'm going to keep in mind. As here, I'm just going to try and kick a light to put some work in, but it's not really working out with the Shaman. I'm just going to click Ice Punch again, knowing this thing doesn't have D-Gleam. As he just fires off a Leech Seed here. He's probably not going to live the next Ice Punch, but I go for Close Combat, expecting him to switch. Luckily, he doesn't go into Clefable, and he goes into Gyarados. So that's pretty cool, as Gyarados takes a really nice hefty chunk from that, despite being at -1. I'm going to switch out on Golbat. It's my best switch in, as he pulls a double on the Gliscor. That's fine. Golbat can just wall his Gliscor for days, as it does have U-turn. And I can just claim Super Fan, get some nice 50% chip on someone. He's going to go through a Wish. I'm going to throw up a Toxic to finally find out if the thing's unaware or Magic Guard. And he's actually unaware, and that's really important. As I go for Brave Bird here, just for the off chance he wants to Wish up Shaman. My goal at this point is, I'm going back and forth between Salazzle or Manaphy, but I'm leaning towards Manaphy now because Shaman is lowered on HP. And I'm going to slow down the battle now, finally, because this is where stuff starts to pick up in the battle a bit. Here, I need to just knock out something. I have a Z move, and I calc my Z move knocks him out. And if he switches back into Valley Rock, good play on his part. But I just need something dead on his team, and then I can start willing his team down. As luckily he switched, he stays in, and Entei goes down. And 42 turns into the battle, we finally have a kill in this matchup. And this battle is going to start to pick up a bit here, as both sides, both me and Samuel, start to get a little more offensive, as he goes into Mega Gyarados, which is really scary. As I do have Golbat, he does set up the GD, and now I was calculating, if this thing crits me, I lose. But luckily he goes for the sub, and I'm able to get a Toxic off. I do have Infiltrator, so it does go right through Substitute, and he did say in the chat that he did forget about that, which it sucks, but Golbat is mainly here for this Gyarados. As I'm just going to click Roost once. I want that extra round of Toxic damage, as I can switch out on the Klefki and sack it, because Klefki's not really doing too much in this game, especially since it cannot get spikes up on Gliscor. But he just switches out, and basically that means Mega Gyarados is almost useless in the back now with it Toxic poisoned. As Klefki, this isn't great, so I'm just going to run back on the Golbat. I know this Gliscor cannot touch this Golbat, as he just goes for Earthquake. He's got Earthquake, U-turn, Defog, and Roost. I'm speaking like really fast, guys. I apologize, but that's just, I had to speed. I sped up this battle a lot just for convenience sake. As I'm just going to play this cat and mouse game for a few turns. I'm going to click Super Fang. I don't want to Roost because if he clicks Earthquake, that'll just be pretty annoying, and I won't get anything out of it. As this turn here, I know Clefable's at like 60-ish%, so maybe I can get a little cheeky, again, set up with Manaphy, but he goes for Earthquake on that, which kind of sucks. It's not a big deal, but it just sucks. But here, I could set up a Tail Glow, but I decided to go for Surf because I know he's unaware, as luckily he switches into Silvally, and it does 70%, and that is huge. Getting that hit off on Silvally is very big, as I'm going to go to Salazzle and try and sack it, actually, as he goes for Tailwind. And I looked at his team again, I was like, no, I'm not going to sack it, because I'm kind of in a tough spot right now. I at this point in the battle, I think it's turn 53, I realized that this Shaman, trying to prevent this Shaman from getting a rest off is going to be a little too hard for my liking. So I have to just let the Shaman heal up, and hopefully I need Salazzle to be my win con again, rather than Manaphy. So here, I'm going to switch on to Salazzle because I know he can't touch me back, but I know he's going to get that recovery, but he clicks Aromatherapy. And this turn is huge, because now I can click Flamethrower, and something dies, and it's the Shaman. And this was huge, because now, even though Manaphy is now my win con, Salazzle also kind of has its gates opened as well, because this Shaman going down was just huge. I have Manaphy in the back as my win con, so I'm just going to click Flamethrower until I die, and luckily he clicks Defog, so now my Salazzle gets to claim another kill, because Silvally cannot switch into any 2 moves, as I am going to knock out the Gliscor, and Salazzle has now gotten 3 kills in this game. And at this point, I think he's going to go into Silvally, but he goes into Clefable, and he goes for Protect. And at this point, guys, this battle is going extremely downhill for Samuelson, as I'm going to set up a nasty plot on that Protect. And now that Silvally cannot even switch into Salazzle anymore, as I'm going to set up a Substitute to make sure nothing goes wrong, as he sets up a Wish. And I'm going to click Sludge Bomb because it knocks out Mega Gyarados and Silvally. And if Clefable wants to do this, it's fine, but he goes into Silvally to try to catch his Wish. I go for Sludge Bomb. I do get a critical hit, but I don't really think that matters, to be honest. Looking at his spread after the game, he was like a max speed set with a decent amount of bulk, but not like a crazy amount of bulk. So that doesn't really matter too much. I'll go over it in the end game, but I'm gonna knock out Gyarados here, Sludge Bomb, and this is the game at this point because this Clefable cannot break my Salazzle whatsoever. As Clefable tanked that Sludge Bomb like an absolute champ. So that's mad props to this Clefable. But Salazzle here is gonna come in this battle and get 6 kills as I'm gonna knock out this Clefable. And your Northside Noiverns, I finally said the team name in the video for once, are going to win 6-0. So GG to Samuelson. Despite the fact that it was a 6-0, this game was a lot closer than the score actually reflected, because I think if Samuel had one more offensive mon as opposed to the defense that he did bring, I truly do believe that Samuel could have cleaned up my team late game, because everything on my team was chipped down pretty heavily, so it was scary. I usually do pretty good against a team that's rather bulkier or more defensive oriented, but Samuel definitely made this really challenging mentally. I think I just made the right plays at the right times and picked my win con wisely, and in the end it just ended up working out. But again, GG to Samuel. I'll have his Twitter in the description below. I don't know if he wants me to plug it, but if I remember, I'll put it in the description below. This was our second ever 6-0, though our first one was because my opponent prepped for the wrong team, so this is technically the first real one. I don't know. It was a great game. We are going to move on to the APM Finals, the second ever Finals appearance I am making, and coincidentally, the first Finals appearance was in the Ocean League, and the last 2 contenders in the other conference are Jet Swarley and Love, both who I met in the Ocean League. So it's going to be a very exciting battle regardless who we face. We faced Jed before a lot, and we faced Love once in the regular season at the APM and we lost. But hopefully, whoever we face, I know who we face next week, but I'm not going to say it, even though I don't think they're uploading. I'm still not going to say it. I'll just let you guys know next week. It's going to be a good battle regardless with who we face. But that is going to be it for the video. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. If you like Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. That's all I got for you guys. I'm going to head out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.